Hi there! In this video, I will introduce you to AWS Elastic Compute Cloud, in short, EC2. Everyone should know this service and its offerings because it supports literally any endeavor. Let's jump into today's presentation. As usual, you can see the different topics I want to cover for the basic service introduction. Let's start with the overview so we understand what EC2 is and does. The EC2 service provides resizable compute capacity. Computing power is needed to perform tasks, run applications, and process data. In other words, it gives you access to virtual servers, or also known as virtual machines, in short VM. A VM is an emulation of a physical computer. It runs an operating system and applications just like a normal physical PC, but it is created and managed using virtualization on a physical host machine. Virtualization could be a topic on its own and would go too deep. So for now, just keep in mind that EC2 gives you access to virtual servers. You can run any workload on an EC2 server. The term workload refers to a specific task, process, or application that runs on computing resources. The term resizable means that you can easily adjust the resources allocated to your EC2 server. For example, you can adjust the CPU or GPU power for a running server. Today, the EC2 service offers over 750 instances. There is a wide selection of instance types optimized to fit different use cases. Instance types comprise varying combinations of CPU, memory, storage, and networking capacity. You should pick the right instance for your workload or requirements, and it will be most efficient. For a better understanding, think of a PC someone uses to only browse the internet and a gaming PC that needs a lot GPU power. While of course you could use the gaming PC just to browse the internet, the resources wouldn't be efficiently used and be underutilized. And the other way around, with a PC that is not built for gaming and doesn't have a dedicated graphic card, you will have a poor experience if it even runs the game. EC2 provides instances for Intel, AMD, and ARM processors, giving you the option to choose what fits best your use case. There is a broad range of operating systems available from which you can choose, like Windows, Linux, and even Mac OS. An interesting side note is that more SAP, HPC, ML, and Windows workloads run on AWS than any other cloud. EC2 offers a SLA, which stands for Service Level Agreement, of 99.99%. This means that you can expect less than 5 minutes of downtime for a single instance in a month. In a good architecture, you utilize further services and enhancements to increase the availability even further. Now you should have a good understanding of what the EC2 service is. Next, let's look at the concepts and features. I already mentioned that there are over 750 EC2 instances available. I wanted to visualize what I just explained, as this is key to understand. When you launch an EC2 instance, the instance type that you specify determines the hardware available to your instance. Each instance type offers a different balance of compute, memory, network, and storage resources. The bars on the right are there to visualize the balance, meaning that the instance we chose, as an example, has double the compute power compared to the available memory. Compute power is measured in virtual CPUs and CPU cores. Memory is measured in gigabytes. Network is measured in gigabytes per second. For storage, you can either use the instance store, which is part of the EC2 instance and is ephemeral, or utilize Elastic Block Store as persistent storage solution. We'll cover EBS in another session. Storage is measured in gigabytes as well. You can deploy a EC2 instance in any availability zone in any region. If you're not familiar with those terms, please watch my AWS Fundamentals video. A EC2 instance is deployed into a virtual private cloud, in short VPC, or to be even more specific, it is deployed into a subnet of an VPC. We will cover VPCs in a separate video in detail. Don't worry if right now this is not fully clear, it will be easier to understand once I have covered VPCs. An Amazon Machine Image, in short AMI, is an image provided by AWS that provides the information required to launch an instance. You must specify an AMI when you launch an instance. The configuration includes the operating system as well as software that is required to run the instance. You can create custom AMIs that, for example, have an application already installed. This means that any EC2 instance you create comes already with the application pre-installed. A custom image that already includes all necessary software, data, and configuration is also known as golden image, just that you heard of it. The pause and resume functionality is known as hibernation. What happens is that the instance memory is saved on pause and automatically restored when resumed. This dramatically increases startup time. Let's talk about EC2 and scaling. There are two ways to scale in general. You can increase or decrease the hardware resources allocated to your EC2 instance by changing the instance type to a bigger, stronger, or smaller, less powerful one. This is called vertical scaling. You can also provision more EC2 instances and manage them as a group by spreading the load across them using a load balancer. This is called horizontal scaling. Both have their ups and downs. An elastic IP address is a static IP version 4 address designed for dynamic cloud computing. An elastic IP address is allocated to your AWS account and is yours until you release it. By using it, you can mask the failure of an instance by remapping the address to another instance in your account. You can also specify the elastic IP in a DNS record for your domain so that it points to your instance. A key pair consisting of a public key and a private key is a set of security credentials that you use to prove your identity when connecting to an Amazon EC2 instance. For Linux instances, the private key allows you to securely SSH into your instance. For Windows instances, the private key is required to decrypt the administrator password, which you then use to connect to your instance. EC2 stores the public key on your instance, and you store the private key. It's important that you store your private key in a secure place because anyone who possesses your private key can connect to your instances that are using the key pair. A security group controls the traffic that is allowed to reach and leave the resources that it is associated with. For example, after you associate a security group with an EC2 instance, it controls the inbound and outbound traffic for that instance. You can specify the source, port range, and protocol for each inbound rule. You can specify the destination, port range, and protocol for each outbound rule. The security group acts as a virtual firewall. Now you should know what EC2 is and what it offers. Next, let's have a quick look at its use cases. As I already mentioned in the overview, EC2 can be used for literally any workload. So with that being said, there are no limitations to its use cases. I still added a few general topics in order to better digest this messaging. You could use EC2 for hosting your website or applications. The well-architected framework that I presented in the fundamentals video suggests to use auto-scaling with a load balancer to achieve better results. You could use the EC2 service to process large amounts of data in batch jobs. You could also use EC2 instances to analyze large data sets using big data frameworks. Training and deploying machine learning models is made possible using EC2 as well. Or you could use EC2 to implement a disaster recovery solution. Those should be enough to give you an idea of what is possible. And let's keep it short for this one. Now let's cover the last topic of today and look into pricing. There are 3 purchase models available today for EC2. On-demand instances let you pay for compute capacity by the hour or second with no long-term commitments. This frees you from the costs and complexities of planning, purchasing, and maintaining hardware, and transforms what are commonly large fixed costs into much smaller variable costs. Savings plans is a flexible pricing model that can help you reduce your bill by up to 72% compared to on-demand prices, in exchange for a commitment to a consistent amount of usage for a 1 or 3 year term. Spot instances let you take advantage of unused EC2 capacity in the AWS cloud and are available at a discount of up to 90% compared to on-demand prices. Your spot instance runs whenever capacity is available and is great for applications that have flexible start and end times. Again, the specific pricing depends on the region you choose for your deployment. In the screenshots below, I've selected the Frankfurt region in Europe for on-demand instances. You can select the operating system as well as the family type and amount of virtual CPUs you want. For Linux general purpose instances, there are almost 700 instance configurations available, as you can see. In the table, you can see hourly rate as well as necessary details to make your choice. For data transfer, all data transfer from the internet into EC2 is free. You have to pay 9 cents per gigabyte for the first 10 terabytes a month for data transfer out in the Frankfurt region. You will get a discount if you transfer more than 10 terabytes a month. With that, we have gone through all the topics for today. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or just share your thoughts and ideas for future content. If this video was valuable, consider to leave a like for the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future video. See you in the next. Bye.